When a video stream has been assembled behind creative genius, the mind's eye is captured and the imagination soars. The early NASA files all bear the mark of creative genius, the present one included, in like kind.
000085 00764 030 000 293 down 86 minus 00759.
Apollo went into orbit around the moon. The journey that had taken the lifetime of mankind was nearing its crucial moment.
Apollo 11, Houston, we're wondering if you started into the limb yet, over. Okay, Charlie, we're at the limb. The tracking index mark is the same.
To understand how I edited this NASA film, it is first necessary to look at one frame as an example. In this case, the example is frame 236. A picture of the artist appears when I reproduce the original frame and move it 90 degrees. The two frames may appear as a pair of opposites, as this pair does. The two sides can also work in concert to present one single scene, as when you look in the darkness at frame 241 and you find two eyes glaring back at you. I'm especially pleased with this particular enhancement because of the tiny critters I call Mickeys. I've enhanced 4 of them. This concludes the introduction. Part 1 begins at frame 0 and continues without further editing until the end of the NASA film. Remember, the original NASA version contains only the frame on the right-hand side. My editing continues in part 2.
Plus, correction, 00572. Perigee, plus 00085. 00764. 030 293. Down 86. Minus 00759.
Apollo went into orbit around the moon. The journey that had taken the lifetime of mankind was nearing its crucial moment.
Apollo 11, Houston, we're wondering if you started into the limb yet, over. Okay, Charlie, we're at the limb. The tracking index mark is the same. Roger, we copy. Houston, Apollo 11, Apollo 11 Eagle, over.
The lunar module Eagle was again given a thorough checkout to ensure the functioning of all systems, as Armstrong and Aldrin prepared to seal themselves off from Collins in the command module and for the two craft to pull apart.
2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Houston out, over.
Okay, it's go there, Capcom on the hot fire. Okay, all flight controllers going around the horn, gonna go for undocking. Okay, retro, go. Fido, go. Guide, go. Control, go. Telcom, go. Jinsey, go. Econ, go. Surgeon, go. Capcom, we're go for undocking.
Hello, Eagle, Houston, we're standing by, over. Eagle, Houston, we see you on the steerable, over.
Roger, Eagle, done.
Roger, how does it look?
The Eagle has wings.
Roger.
The Eagle has wings. On its own now, but with Columbia near at hand, it coasted around to the backside of the moon, and there, while out of direct communication with the Earth, it fired its engine to slow its descent to a touchdown on the near side of the moon. Collins in Columbia continued in orbit, awaiting their return.
Okay, all flight controllers, gonna go for landing. Retro. Go. Fido. Go. Guidance. Go. Control. Go. Telcom. Go. GNC. Go. Ecom. Go. Surgeon. Go. Capcom, we're go for landing. Altitude 4200.
Houston, you're go for landing, over.
Roger, understand. Go for landing. 3,000 feet.
You're looking great.
How you doing, Control?
We look good here, fine.
How about you, Telcom? Go. Guidance, you happy? Go. Fido.
Go. 2,000 feet. 2,000 feet. Into the ag. 47 degrees.
Roger.
37 degrees.
It's still looking very good.
Your go.
Copy. Alarm. 1201. 1201.
Roger, 1201 alarm.
1201 alarm. Same type, we're go, flight. Okay, we're go.
We're go, same type, we're go.
Altitude 1600.
Eagle looking great. Roger, 1202, we copy it.
35 degrees. 750. Coming down to 23. 540 feet and at 15. 350 feet down at 4. Altitude, velocity, light. 3.5 down. 220 feet. 5 and forward, coming down nicely. 200 feet. 4.5 down. 5.5 down. 100 feet. 3.5 down. 9 forward. Okay, 75 feet. Car's looking good. Down a half. 6 forward.
60 seconds.
Lights on. Forward. Forward. 40 feet down, 2.5. Picking up some dust. Straight shadow. 4 forward, drifting to the right a little.
30 seconds.
Forward, just. Contact light. Okay, engine stop.
We copy you down, Eagle.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
This is Apollo Control Houston at 105 hours, now into the flight to Apollo 11. Our current plan is to have crew members aboard the Eagle to eat and relax for a little while prior to starting EVA.
Sometimes, the two scenes appear as a solo pair. The scene presented now contains two views of the same face. One face has a fat nose and one face has a long skinny nose. This is another swish face, fat round face pair. The interesting thing about this picture is that both characters have a little sidekick. In this picture I can definitely see two faces, but they are not 90 degrees apart. How they were made is something I attribute to Disney magic. This picture illustrates a solo pair with one mouth open and the other mouth closed. The two frames are also joined together with a mouse overlooking the two faces. This is the face of a moon creature who appears to have acquired the bad habit of eating visitors. It appears this latest dinner guest will be leaving soon for parts unknown.
Looking good, down a half.
Yes, I think we can all agree the face is halfway down. The rule is, whenever the narrator overstates the obvious, it's a clue to look around for something else. In this case, I turned the picture upside down and found another face. There's a lot of detail. You can see his shirt, his ear, his profile, and he has a big nose and big teeth. I don't know if this one eats people, but it looks like he would if he could. This scene is a composite of several animated characters. The first character is a dog face. The one on the right is smarter than the one on the left. You can tell because the dog on the right can read, but the dog on the left can only look at the pictures. Behind the dog is a rat-faced character pointing out something for the dog to see. Then we see this big mouse. Next to the mouse is a cat. I think it's Siamese because it has blue eyes. And next to the cat is an ugly man with a skeleton face. The whole thing looks different in small view. Sometimes the two frames work together to produce one picture. At first blush, this picture looks like a pair of opposites. One looks like a frivolous clown face, the other looks more pensive. But the narrator lets the cat out of the bag when he says, they are the same.
Tracking index mark is the same.
By adding a little white paint to the subject, we are immediately rewarded with the face of an old man with a mustache looking up, and the cherubic round face of a youth looking down. They could indeed be two pictures of the same man at different times of his life. The artist has maintained the weightlessness of space theme by drawing them as if they are bubbles, or maybe reflections seen in bubbles in the air. Notice it takes both frames to complete the picture of the old man. Frame 1588 continues the lighter-than-air theme with a stylized picture of an astronaut floating in air. Or maybe he's being carried away on the back of a big mouse. After merging the two halves, the caricature of a man with a big nose and a mustache appears. The mouse behind the W in this picture was enhanced using one color, or two shades of one color, brown. Notice it takes both frames to complete the picture. This is what the eagle did when he found out all of his family and friends flew to Puerto Rico for vacation, and he was left home alone. For me, this is a very funny picture that heads a long list of very funny pictures. Unfortunately, it goes by so fast I'll have to slow it down, and in the end the humor is lost in the explanation. But we'll try. The explanation starts after the words, faint shadow.
Lights on. Forward. Forward. 40 feet down, 2.5. Picking up some dust. Faint shadow.
The first thing we see is a small tip of the great creature's tail. We see his shadow, it gets bigger and bigger. He's in front of us now, we can see his form clearly. We see his tail, his round body, his ears, his snout. And then we hear the words, the eagle has landed, and we see a picture of a squished mouse.
Tranquility Base here. The eagle has landed.
I found it to be such a great chuckle I couldn't help playing around with it a little bit. It is interesting the way the mouse covers the face in this picture, and in this picture the face covers the mouse. I know some viewers will ask why I was so heavy-handed in my editing to include a green dot in the anatomically correct spot where his eye should be. The answer is, I didn't. This is the way it came from the artist's easel. You can see it clearly on frame 8818. Another criticism is that the mouse cannot be an accurate representation because it comes from a frame that is offset 90 degrees from the original. The matter of correct orientation is covered adequately in the very next scene. With both views present, it is obvious that the astronaut is not floating upside down. He is standing on a floor trying to bring a rebellious stage prop to order, but in vain. All concerns compelled by the irresistible demand of gravity. Shooting the scene with a wide-angle zoom lens while the camera is upside down gives the illusion of floating in zero gravity, and although this scene is a poor example of good video graphics, it is however a good example of high camp humor that was popular at the time. What could be funnier than a stage prop falling down while the actor pretends to be floating in zero gravity outer space?
Go!
The scene is a collection of vignettes which have been sewn together cleverly to give the effect of an astronaut floating in space. Two of my favorites follow. The first one comes at the very end. In the normal view, you'll see the character on the right hand side reach out and pluck a mouse from the corner, which he then displays proudly for all to see. a small view, you see two cats. The cat on the left has no mouse to display. The other vignette pertains to a centrally located character whose nose got stuck on the right-hand frame.
The lunar module Eagle was again given a thorough checkout to ensure the functioning of all systems, as Armstrong and Aldrin prepared to seal themselves off from Collins in the command module and for the two craft to pull apart.
2, 3.
The following files may not be funny, but they definitely fall under the category of things that make you go, The first set compares frame 0 and frame 757. When frame 0 is moved upside down and enlarged, you can see they are the same picture. The next pair is almost 3,000 frames apart, but when frame 3926 is moved upside down, you can see they are the same picture. Reduced in size, the mouse face that appears reacquaints us with that old adage, sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees.
Houston, we see you on the steerable, over.
Here's where we tell the world we landed on the moon in a ship that looks like a smiley face. And if you follow my enhancement, in the background, the moon has a big mouth smiley face too. The comedy never ends. First is the lunar module. Someone's drawn it with a big nose and a mustache that makes it look like a fat Groucho Marx in a hula skirt.
The Eagle has wings.
Then we are told the Eagle has wings, and immediately we're given to see air turbulence. And just in case we missed it the first time, we're told again, the Eagle has wings.
The Eagle has wings.
And then we're presented with another flurry of air turbulence.
On its own now, but with Columbia near at hand, it coasted around to the backside of the moon, and there, while out of direct communication with the Earth.
To see what's so funny, we have to back up just a tad because the audio is not in sync with the video. In the background, cartoon characters are looking up to the sky. No one's looking directly at the spaceship to illustrate what no direct communication means. Backing up just a bit more, we can sync some more of the narrator's dialogue with the video.
And there, while out of direct communication with the Earth, it fired its engine to slow its descent to a touchdown on the near side of the moon.
The right-hand side shows how the engine fired. The left hand shows descent. In the addendum, I show how facets of the Freemasonic initiation ceremony were worked into the fabric of this NASA video to produce an alternate storyline. It is a difficult thing for many people to accept, but I have included scenes from the initiation ceremony to help the viewer see how those innocuous beginnings of the ritual come full bloom in the telling. The candidate who comes to the doors of Freemasonry is ritually pierced in the left breast by the point of a compass. All the tools of a Mason can be used symbolically. The square and compass are placed in an open position over scriptures. At another time, in another ceremony, the candidate is caused to perform the part of an imaginary character called Hiram Abiff.
Grandmaster Hiram Abiff, give me the secrets of the Master Mason. I cannot. Give me the secrets of the Master Mason or I'll take your life. I will not. Give me the secrets of the Master Mason or I'll take your life on this spot. My life, but not the secrets. Then die! Companions, what horrid crime we had committed. We have murdered our Grand Master, Hiram Abiff.
This is where the low 12 alarm is given.
What shall we do with the body? Let us take it a westerly course and bury it at the brow of a hill, dug 6 feet due east and west, and 6 feet perpendicularly, at the head of which we will plant a sprig of acacia, that the place may be here unknown.
Let us make our escape. O Lord, my God, is there no help for the widow's son? Brother Senior Grand Warden, take the body by the entered apprentice's grip and see if it can be raised.
Most worshipful King Solomon, the body cannot be raised by the entered apprentice grip. The skin slips from the flesh.
Take it by the fellowcraft's grip and see if it can be raised.
For reasons already assigned, it cannot be raised by the fellowcraft grip. The flesh cleaves from the bone.
We will take the body by the strong grip of a master mason or the lion's paw and raise it upon the 5 points of fellowship.
The body, which is moldering in the bone and falling apart at the sinew, is made whole in the Masonic ritual. When we return to the NASA video, we will see tiny vignettes which have been cleverly sewn together to bring us to the same conclusion that we saw in the Masonic ritual. In this sequence, we are immediately presented with the view of a square open to 90 degrees and an angle inside the square open to 33 degrees. The scene contains a strong visual image that has the same effect of someone proclaiming in a loud voice, "Notice, to all those whose presence this way comes, this be the way of a Mason." Immediately the scene drills down to the portrait of a man, but it's a twisted, jangled portrait, like the image seen in a shattered mirror dashed to the ground, working chaos, in pieces on the floor. At the top there is a nose, a profile in the middle, another nose, another profile at the side, another profile looking up, and 2 eyes looking out from the side, then 2 more eyes peering out, straight out from the middle. It may appear impossible to assemble Humpty Dumpty back together again, but we are reminded of the moldering body falling apart at the sinew that was made to come together under the occult symbols of Freemasonry. And we see this come together under the plumb, square, and compass and other occult symbols used in Freemasonry. If we are looking at a 24-inch gauge or a magic wand, or if a magic wand is a 24-inch gauge, I do not know. But it is safe to say the picture is awash in occult symbology. There is enough detail to recognize his pensive eyes, long nose, and a mustache, the facial features of the well-known cartoon animator Walt Disney. There's something about his eyes, isn't there? We will confront this strange picture again in another corner of the same NASA video.
Roger, 1201 alarm.
1201 alarm.
Send type, we'll go, flight.
The scene we are viewing now contains a view of the animated characters which are normally hidden in the shadows, but for the moment our attention is directed to a small area in the background. You may recognize similarities in common with the picture we saw previously. The dark areas, which I highlighted in red, dovetail quite nicely.
Roger, 1201 alarm.
1201 alarm.
Send type, we'll go, flight.
When the cartoon characters come out of the shadows, we see their imploring, accusatory, deep gaze, which adds nothing to story continuity in a Houston Flight Controller picture. The dialogue does not match either. 1201 alarm, set the flight to go flight. Would NASA really allow a rocket launch after one of their alarms went off? It's easier to believe this scene with its animated characters and the misplaced dialogue belongs somewhere else. And if we recall the Masonic initiation we saw earlier, it's easy to see this scene as a stylized representation of the Masonic ritual, where the low 12 alarm was given after Hiram Abiff was killed, and the ruffian set to flight after the low 12 alarm was given. The Worshipful Master's summary investigation is represented by the imploring deep, accusatory glare of the two animated figures.